Hello and welcome to Lansing Pulse. I'm Ken Miller, joined as always by City Administrator Tim Vandall. We're recording this video in late April, which means that the intersection project at Eisenhower and K7 is about to begin, or it has begun, depending on when you're watching this video. What advice do you have for folks that travel in North Lansing on a regular basis once this project gets started?
You know, Ken, there's no sugarcoating it. That intersection is going to be congested. There will be delays. So the only thing that I can really tell citizens is use detours if you can. K5 might be an option for a lot of people. I know we take K5 because we live on the east side of the highway. I know a lot of people could hopefully utilize that new and improved DeSoto Road.
Right.
When you think about that, I mean, DeSoto Road's 40 miles an hour, no stop signs, so it's almost just as fast as using K7 anyway.
Right.
So use those detours. The other thing that I would really encourage citizens to think about too, as that project kicks off, you know, if you can, go to those businesses during non-peak hours. I know you and I have talked, like I go to Tractor Supply for my dog food and my propane, and I would always go when I would get off of work. But now, instead of going at 5 p.m., I'm probably going to go over my lunch break when it's not quite as busy. So those are things to think about. And even though there are going to be headaches associated with this project, I tell you what, by the time late fall rolls around, the project should be wrapped up and it'll be an afterthought. So the intersection is going to be a vast improvement. It's going to be safer. Traffic is going to flow more freely. So it's going to be a major improvement, but it won't be complete until probably late fall.
Yeah, and if you think about it, you know, if you need to go to Dillon's, or even if you work at home, Mark, DeSoto Road may not be that bad an alternative, simply because it's just going to make it that much easier for you to get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're going to want to avoid that intersection almost at all costs. We should mention though, if you do have some business to do, whether it's a quick trip, the car wash, whatever, obviously there's still a need to use K7 to get there.
Yeah.
We certainly want the businesses to be able to survive and thrive, but you're right about the peak hours times, 8 o'clock, 5 o'clock, those types of things. Avoid it. It's just a good idea.
One thing that I want to add too, so the general contractor on this project is Lina Weaver Construction, and they were the general contractor when we did DeSoto. And it was so nice. They were incredibly helpful to work with, very accommodating. I mean, that's a Lansing business
Right.
staffed by Lansing people. So I'm incredibly glad they were the ones who had the low bid on that project. And I know on DeSoto Road, when there were things that they could do to kind of help out a little bit, they absolutely did it. So you know, that's one positive thing with this project, that it is a local company that's going to do everything they can to keep traffic flowing as smoothly as it can.
Okay, so we're getting into the warmer weather months. Let's talk about neighborhood roads, because there's going to be some work done there. The City Council just approved the mill and overlay program for this year, and it looks like higher asphalt prices might limit us a bit with maintenance and repair. So talk a little bit about that. The program is passed. I think the contract has been let, or it's about to be let. I think Little Joe's out of Bonner is doing that again this year. But talk a little bit about how maybe it's changed because of gasoline prices and oil prices going through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, there have been major increases in the cost of asphalt over the last year. Everyone knows that. And so I want to say it was like a 21% increase just on the unit cost of asphalt. And so in past years, you know, if we would have money left over, we would be able to add additional roadways. And so we almost got a little bit better of a bang for our buck when we would do that. This year, though, I mean, those numbers were just so tight with the numbers going up. We weren't able to do quite as many streets as we had in the past. That said, though, the contract was just approved by the City Council last week. It was $789,000. So a lot of times when people you know, think about, when is my street going to be paved, or why isn't the city doing this? You know, we're spending $789,000 this year, paving roads, repairing curb, repairing gutter, replacing some sidewalks. So we're trying to make a lot of improvements. You know, unfortunately though, like I said, $789,000 It doesn't go as far this year as it did last year, but we're still going to be trying to make some major improvements this year, and I hope our citizens are able to notice that this summer.
Right. As of yesterday or the day before, and this is April 28th that we're recording this, but work has actually begun out at Bernard Park. There's going to be a new baseball, softball complex out there. Give us a few details and a time frame. Again, weather permitting and other things, but what's the time frame for it to be completed as well?
So the time frame is actually very similar to the K7 Eisenhower time frame. I mean, they're going to be getting started almost any day now. They might be moving a few trees and things like that now. But similar time frame, they should be wrapped up hopefully in the fall, and we're hoping to be able to utilize those new fields for our 2023 baseball, softball, t-ball season. So hopefully all the youngsters can play baseball out there next year. Sands Construction out of Leavenworth is the general contractor for that, but Line Weaver Construction out of Lansing and Laven Electric are a couple of the subs for that project. So we're incredibly excited. That's a very localized project, and I think that's going to be good. Like you had said, 5 new baseball, softball, t-ball fields out there. It's kind of in the area where we used to light off fireworks and have events. So that's where the improvements will be taking place. There will be concession stands and restrooms. We saw one person, I think, chiming in online, not realizing that we were going to have water and sewer out there, but we will have restrooms out at our baseball and softball complex. There's going to be tournament grade lighting, so we're very excited about that. This project was $4.5 million, and it was a long time in the making. We had one of our council members who'd been on board for 12 or 14 years, and he was talking about how excited he was about this. We last made improvements to Bernard Park in I think 2008 or 2009 in that time frame. When we bought it. And obviously the recession happened after that, and it took us a while to get back on our feet. And then engineering and design doesn't happen overnight also. So it took us a while to get to this stage. We're excited about it. This will be the first major improvement out to Bernard Park in over a decade. And I think the council's excited. We're excited about it. Just have to wait a few more months. One other thing too, I know there's a dedicated following out there who likes to walk and bike on those trails. We're encouraging people to not do that. There's going to be a lot of heavy equipment out there. So I mean, it will be a little bit of a hassle, but again, should be completed hopefully late this fall.
And one other thing to add, when it is completed, there's going to be additional hardtop parking out there, so that you're not going to be parking in the grass obviously anymore. I want to say it's between 100 and 250 spaces eventually. This is around the baseball softball complex.
Yeah, initially I think there's going to be space for a little over 100 paved parking spots, and then there might be additional spots that aren't paved right off the bat. But yeah, I mean, parking out at City Park right now, parking is always an issue. Drainage on those fields is an issue, and they served us adequately for a few decades. But these are going to be designed fields for baseball, softball. They'll drain properly. They'll have better parking. They'll have better lighting. So we're incredibly excited about this. It's long overdue. So just a few more months until they're complete.
Okay, work is continuing on the city's 2023 budget. You're well aware of that. How does revenue intake look in supporting the budget? And I know we were really worried 2 or 3 years ago when the pandemic started about how that was going to affect our revenue and our ability to operate as a city, and it turned out a lot better than we thought. Is the pendulum swinging back the other way now?
For the most part, our revenues are doing pretty well. Our sales tax collections have been up. Our valuations, as most people know, have gone up. So our revenues are actually still doing pretty well. Where this balance is, though, like we had just talked about, the cost of asphalt is over 20% more than it was previously. We're expecting a jump in health insurance. Gasoline, we spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 every year with our street department, police department, all of the city vehicles, all of our fleet just using gasoline. So increases and things like that. There's going to be this challenging balance as we go through this budget season with increased revenues but also increased expenses. I think there's also a desire among some people to try to lower our property tax rate a little bit. And that's one of those things that I know Mayor McNeil, our finance director, and I were looking at very closely. One of the things that's always challenging about that, I do feel like at some point the market will correct itself. So while valuations have been going up, you don't want to slash the property tax rate too much in case the market corrects itself and the valuation starts decreasing. So we're trying to find that balance of where we need to be. But you're right, so far our revenues have been doing okay. We're slowly starting to input numbers for our budget, and we feel pretty optimistic about it so far this year.
Okay. All right, how about a development update?
Things are going pretty well for the most part. We had a meeting with a prospect a few days ago, and so that's a commercial building that would be down that K7 corridor that we feel pretty excited about. So hopefully before the end of the year, we'll see a couple of commercial buildings at least breaking ground and getting started. Family Eye Care is making great progress. It's kind of fun to drive by that on K7 every day, and every day you drive by, you see a new improvement that they're making over there. So that's going to be a fantastic improvement to Lansing. Development-wise, I know there's a few duplexes being built right down there on Reagan Drive. We've got some tentative plans for new homes in Fairway Estates. I don't think those new homes would be built in 2022, but it's possible like the infrastructure might be getting started in 2022, and maybe we'll see those homes in 2023. But so there's a lot going on in Lansing right now. We're pretty excited about it. And this is just it's a great place. It's obvious Lansing is a place where people want to operate their businesses. It's a place where people want to live, and we're excited about that.
Yeah. Okay, we'll wrap it up. And one of the reasons why I think people are excited to live here, and it's one of my favorite events, it's the annual Youth Fishing Derby, and that's scheduled for Saturday, May 7th. We always have a big response from local folks and their kids. Talk a little bit about, and you've been out to that before, so you've witnessed it firsthand, but talk about what the draw is there.
This is our 21st year doing our fishing derby, and it is such a fantastic event. There's so many kids out there, and we stock that pond so full of fish. Almost every kid.
I think this weekend is when they stock it, right?
Yeah, and so I think we're putting signs up there pretty soon to encourage people not to fish, because we want all those fish to be in there for those youngsters. But anyway, it's a $5 registration cost. So that $5 gets you bait, and it also gets you a free lunch after the event. So we're incredibly excited about that. I think we're expecting maybe 120 kids registering this year. And I know we always have a lot of employees volunteering and helping out with that event. So that is out at Bernard Park. Again, registration is only $5. So what a fantastic deal. You do have to register for it, though. So
in advance this year, too. No on-site.
Exactly. You have to register in advance so we know, how much food to have for lunch, how many worms to have, and everything. So please register in advance. You can register online at lansingks.org, or you can swing by our Parks and Rec office. But please do register in advance. I want to say May 5th is the deadline for that. But that's just such a fantastic event. Lots of smiles, and one of the things that I always find fascinating, so probably 95% of the fish they put in that lake are bluegill, and they're maybe this size or so, but I think they also put in maybe 4 or 5 pretty big fish. So it's always kind of a little bit humorous when you'll see this little 7-year-old reeling in this fish that's this big, and like every fishing story, with each subsequent year that fish gets a little bit bigger. But great event. Please register for it online. $5. What a heck of a deal for a fun family event.
All right, I've been speaking with Lansing City Administrator Tim Vandall. For Lansing Pulse, I'm Ken Miller.